Okay, another parter here, guys. It's about 9:16 in the morning, West Coast time, on the 28th of April, 2026. I gotta stand up for a while. Been on my ass for over a couple hours. I think it's time for me to rest my ass. And my dog is wondering how come I'm up like this. Well, I'll show you something about the San Fernando Valley again if I'm going to stop talking about the damn place. It's Universal Studios Hollywood. I guess I'll be for a while since I'll talk more about the San Fernando Valley a little bit later. About neighborhoods and home and people and stuff like that. But and one aborted attempt and another, I was trying to talk about if I wanted to see Universal Studios as it is right now, going through more changes that I've seen. I come across stuff on YouTube, and one of them was trying to show about the Star Trek adventure that happened back in the 90s. Somebody did about 94. I worked there in 92 when it was happening. I worked at Universal Studios Hollywood from September of 92 all the way through 93, January 1st. And among people that got laid off. Over there, we had no Harry Potter. We had no Jurassic Park. We had no Transformers, but we did have Backdraft. We did have E.T. and the lower lot. And in the upper lot, well, let's see, we had the Western Stunt Show. Waterworld, not so much. I think we had the 18 during that time. But Star Trek Adventure took over Don Adams' screen test, putting people into costumes, as Don Adams' screen test would do. And we would have a Star Trek Adventure and instead of going through Airport 75. Or another Airport 77, something like that. I think it was Airport 77. And the Star Trek Adventure would be putting people into alien costumes, Starfleet costumes, and Klingon costumes. I wish to God I kept the VHS tape because it would show a Klingon person with glasses on. I couldn't see without the damn thing. Are you kidding me? But I was a Klingon, wrapped around alien vines going, ah! That was funny. That was fun. I loved it. As a customer going through there and not as an employee, though. And I saw the gift shop, and I wish I had the money for the gift shop. Because they had a lot of cool Star Trek toys. A lot of collectibles. But it was just something to work over at the Star Trek shop. The Starbase, they called it. And we would sell the merchandise. Just for a few hours, I was a Trekkie in hope. I wish I had a camera. If we had the cell phone cameras during those days, I would love to take a picture of me in a transporter pad. That would have been something. But we had that. We didn't have City Walk. You would go onto the property. They didn't have the parking structure. They would also have Beetlejuice's Review, a musical show. Not to mention they would have a carnival. They would have the animal show. They would have a makeup show. They were dealing with monsters. The lower lot would have the mechanicals, not the 3D shit that you'd see, but the mechanicals, animatronics. Jaws are still there. They'd have the big monkey. They would have a tunnel. They would have, let's see, in place of the monkey, they would have Battlestar Galactica. That was cool. They'd have the earthquake ride over there. They would talk about the backlog areas that didn't get burned down, and they would also show on the outside the areas devoted to Lucille Ball. And the vault that would actually have a lot of their videos, masters. It's not until the early 2000s when I moved out here with my family that my brother and I were crying and weeping because we saw from one mistake, one error, one accident happening on a roof of a sound stage that destroyed a lot, the back lot of Universal. And that hurt like a son of a bitch. My brother used to work there as a security guard. Worked for Burns when he actually had the account. He'd do the overnights all the time, or sometimes during the daytime when they needed him. Do a patrol in the back lots. He wouldn't do the studio. They had their own security for that one. He would work for production companies. But he would do his job of protecting stuff during nighttime and during the daytime. He was telling me about a Phantom of the Opera type guy who would run around the place trying to cause a little bit of damage or just be a nuisance. It's not until they found out this one guy used to work for the studios a lot longer before the studio became the tour. And how they got him arrested and busted. Doing damage to a lot of places. A certain sound stage this guy would haunt like crazy that nobody would use. He would also tell me about the animals that they used to have in their farm, their petting farm, and their cages and stuff that they would use for their films well before the tour, well before, when it was actually a working studio all over the place. And when things had changed, the animals were let go, and they roamed the area. They roamed the area at night. Many decades ago. When I look at the map of the Universal Studios Hollywood, I'm reminded of those times. Of the times my brother used to work there, but also the time when I used to work there. And the last time I had been to Universal Studios, it was after my brother's death in 2018. I think it was 2019 or 20 that I decided I wanted to go back over to Universal just to pay my respects and tributes. And yeah, they had changed a lot of things. They took out E.T., put in the Mummy. They took out Backdraft and put in the Transformers. They were changing a few things around to put Jurassic Park, and I didn't get a chance to take a look at it or go on it. They actually had established Hogwarts. Took out the amphitheater to do so. When I worked in '92, they had the amphitheater enclosed, and it was a major concerts happening. And I worked during the daytime, and in that area they had an area for the cast and people who worked at the park. They had a lunchroom, cafeteria. I liked it. I worked there. Get about 45 minutes to inhale. Took me about 5 or 10 minutes to walk over there, get the food, inhale it, get the hell back to the work. Well before they had the Harry Potter crap. But I have to say that even after '92, my brother and I did go back over there to see a City Walk. About once or twice. And he had shops I liked. My brother did too. They had a Dodger store. They sold Dodger pins. You can't find those things anymore. Dodger Dog. And it was something. I know it had changed a hell of a lot since I'd been there. I said before, about 2019 or 20, I came back and seen the changes. Wasn't exactly approving of the whole damn thing when they took out animatronics and put in 3D. I like the animatronics. But the thing is, the fire took out the animatronics. Old Kong got burned up in a fire. It's something to see this big animatronic face with the banana breath coming out of it. Just when you leave the soundstage it was in. I can't help but feel nostalgic about these kind of things. When I'm looking at portions that I used to live in and grew up under, I owe nobody nothing. But I still want one more visit over to Universal Studios Hollywood if I can afford it. I know how to get down there. Give you this example. I would take an early bus, despite the fact I still got the foot injury. But even if I didn't have the foot injury, I'd take a bus to a train station, take it all out of Lancaster, and head it over to the Burbank station. And from there, get a bus connection over to Universal Studios. And about 9:30, 10 o'clock, walk into the park. Now, if I actually could spend a night or two, try to find a motel or maybe get the hotel over there, take the tram, and see how Universal's been changing all over the place. I feel, guys, I used to work on the stage also. I mean, I used to work in the back lots when I was doing temp work, being a gopher. I had never driven a cart before. I had a license, but I never drove the damn things. So it's pretty damn fun driving those damn things. Of course, they got rid of me because I wasn't prepared enough for them, but I don't care. I know in the back lots at the time when I worked there, I think it was in the mid to late 90s or somewhere in that time, that they had a small eatery grill that would handle the soundstage people, studio backlog people, and some of the people coming from the tour. Actually, when they worked the backlog from the tours. Walk over there, get your hot dog, hamburger, or whatever they had, and eat there for about a few minutes and then get back. That would be the back lot area. I don't know where they would have, where their crews would commingle, but if I could go back there, I probably would. I don't know, just maybe pay my respects. My brother and I had worked there, but we hadn't worked together over there. He'd worked security years before I did. And I worked a short time as merchandise sales clerk. I got no issues with it. I was happy with it. I was a union guy. But that just wasn't, I mean, I wasn't cutting it, I guess, for them, because they put me through with a batch of 40 people, and they were just drop-kicked our ass. But that's all right. That's all right. So I owe myself a trip back to Universal Studios Hollywood. Now, if it's about Disneyland, it's a different story altogether on that one. I'll do another video, but not yet. I would pay my respects to the lower lot, and then pay my respects again to the upper lot. To the memories that still linger. To the feelings, the nostalgia that still burns and still tears me apart left and right. That's what I would do. Anyway, that being said, guys, a final note on this one. 2 o'clock, I'm leaving with my dog over to the vet. We're going to see what happens. She needs to have her ear looked at, her balance looked at, her whole body looked at, and her nails done. What's kicking me in the ass at this point over here, and I didn't have any sleep last night. It's not that much anyway. Normally I wouldn't, because I would hear her groaning in the middle of the night, but recently she's been still sleeping. She's relaxing. I'm still worried. I want her to talk about the breathing, about everything else. I don't want this to be the final visit, but it's not up to me. I don't want it to be up to me, and I don't want to see her gone either. If she can be treated, then let's get treatment, if I can afford it. If not, well, then I deal with her the best I can. If she's going to die, she's going to die. And I don't want her to suffer. I don't want her to suffer at all. But if she's still fighting for life, I do not want to deny her anything. So, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Because it would mean I still have a place to take her to get checked out. Anyway, let you guys know what's going on. That being said,